Welcome back to the Inner Compass. I am Sasha and we are on episode 3 today. Over our last two episodes, we covered a lot of ground together. We talked about what it means to feel lost and how that feeling might not be an ending, but actually a beginning. And last week, we went deeper into self-trust, into intuition, and into how we find our way back to ourselves when that inner voice has gone quiet. Today, we get practical because that here's what I have realized, both in my own healing and in the work that I do with others. Insight alone is not enough. You can understand something completely in your mind and still feel exactly the same in your body, in your days, in your life. What actually changes things is practice. Small, consistent, intentional practice. So today we are talking about the power of small daily healing habits and why the tiny things you do every day matter infinitely more than the dramatic things you do occasionally. We have a complicated relationship with healing in our culture. We want it to happen in a moment, a retreat, a revelation, conversation that finally cracks open everything. We wait for the big breakthrough, the therapy session that lifts the weight for good, the book that rewires our whole perspective, the spiritual experience that changes us forever. And sometimes those moments do happen and they are real, they are beautiful. But here is what nobody tells you. The breakthrough doesn't heal you. What heals you is what you do the morning after the breakthrough, and the morning after that, and the one after that. Healing is not an event. Healing is a direction, and the way you move in that direction consistently, gently, imperfectly is through the small things you choose to do every single day. A 2-minute morning check-in, a moment of stillness before you reach for your phone, a single sentence of gratitude before you sleep, a breath taken consciously in the middle of a difficult situation. These things feel too small to matter. They are not too small to matter. They are exactly the right size they are meant to be. I want you to think of your healing like a garden. A garden doesn't transform dramatically on any given day. You don't water it once and watch it bloom. You don't pull one weed and stand back to admire a transformed landscape. You show up again and again. You water consistently. You tend it when you don't feel like it. Plant things not knowing exactly when they will grow. You trust the process even when nothing seems to be happening on the surface. And then one morning you walk outside quietly without fanfare and you realize something had shifted. There is more green than there was before. Something you planted weeks ago has quietly taken root. That is what daily healing habits do. They don't announce themselves. They don't feel significant in the moment, but they are doing something invisible and essential beneath the surface, rewiring pathways, softening old patterns, building a new relationship between you and your life, one ordinary day at a time. You're always present in your garden. The only question is, are you tending it? So let's talk about what these small habits can actually look like in your life. I am just going to share with you some 7 exercises. I want to say very clearly, you are not meant to do all 7. Not now, not ever. This is not a checklist. This is a menu. Pick one, the one that feels most natural, most doable, most like something you could actually sustain. That is your starting point. That's enough. So the first one, the morning moment. Before you check your phone, before you speak to anyone, before the outer world comes in, give yourself 2 minutes just to sit up, take 3 slow, conscious deep breaths, and ask yourself one honest question. How am I actually feeling right now? Not how you think you should feel, not how you would describe yourself to someone else, how you actually feel, honestly feel. That's it. 2 minutes of honest presence before the day begins. I know 2 minutes sounds almost too small, but here is what I have found. The 2 minutes before the world comes in sets the tone of the day. Those are the 2 most honest minutes of the whole day with yourself. Don't just give them away. The second one, movement as a medicine. You don't need a gym. You don't need a class. You don't need an hour. You need to move your body in a way that feels good for just merely 10 minutes. A walk, stretching on the floor, dancing in your kitchen, moving your arms and shoulder after sitting for too long. Here is why this matters. The body stores what the mind is still trying to process. Every difficult emotion, every unfinished conversation, every unspoken thing, it lives somewhere in the body. Moving it is not optional for healing. It is essential. Don't think of this as an exercise. Think of this practice as a release and give your body permission to let something go. The next one is my favorite. The one-line journal, the third practice. Not pages, not a deep dive every morning, not a beautifully curated reflection. Just one line every day. What I am feeling right now. That's it. One raw, honest line. No editing, no making it look pretty, no writing what sounds wise. Over months, This becomes one of the most powerful records of your healing you will ever have. You will look back and see in your own handwriting how far have you come. The one line journal isn't about processing or insight. It's about witnessing yourself and sometimes being witnessed even by your own hand is the most healing thing of all. The fourth one, I call it as conscious nourishment. One meal a day, just one, when you eat with full awareness. No screen, no distraction, no half attention. You taste the food, you notice how it feels, you are present for the act of feeding yourself. This sounds so simple, right? It's almost laughable, but I want you to try it because the way we nourish our bodies reflects the relationship we have with ourselves. When we eat unconsciously on autopilot, always doing something else at the same time, we are telling ourselves subtly that we are not worth the full moment of our own attention. One meal, full presence, that's an act of self-respect. And it starts to teach your nervous system that you are worth slowing down for. The next comes what I have named it as the evening release. Before you sleep, take 3 minutes. Write down everything you are carrying from the day. Worries, unfinished thoughts, things that bothered you, things left unsaid, things you are anxious about tomorrow. Get them out of your head and onto the page. Because here's what happens when we don't do this. Those thoughts don't go away. They stay. They follow us into sleep. They run on a loop at 3 a.m. They make us feel restless and feel impossible when we are exhausted to rest. Externalizing the day closes it. It tells the mind you have been heard and you can rest now. Think of this practice as an evening release ritual, as putting the day down. You have been carrying it for so long, for so many hours. You are allowed to set it on the page and walk away. The next one, I call it as one moment of beauty. Every day on purpose, notice something beautiful. A flower, a color, the light through a window, a piece of music that moves you, a kind word from a stranger, the way the air smells after rain. Not scrolling past beauty, but acknowledging it, stopping for that moment. This is not a luxury. This is training yourself to notice beauty in ordinary life, which is one of the most powerful practices available to us. And it is completely, entirely free because beauty reminds us that life is also this, not just the difficult moments, not just the healing, also this moment, this color, this light. Beauty is not about decoration. It is medicine. And the more deliberately you seek it in ordinary things, the more of it will find you. Until one day you realize it was always there, waiting just for you to see. And the last one is seventh one, daily self-compassion. One moment every day where you choose to speak to yourself kindly, where you notice the inner critic and choose a different voice. It doesn't have to be elaborative. It can be as simple as placing your hand on your heart and saying, I am doing my best. That's it. That's enough. I am doing my best is one sentence that will give you encouragement. If nothing else lands from today's episode, let it be this. Because let me tell you, the harshest voice in most of our lives is of not somebody else. It's our own. And healing at its most fundamental is the practice of learning to be gentle with ourselves, especially when it feels undeserved. Say it like you mean it. Say it slowly. I am doing my best. That is enough. You have probably said kinder things to strangers. Now say it to yourself. You deserve it too. So these small seven habits, and I want to come back to what I said at the beginning. Pick one, just one, not because the others don't matter, but because consistency with one thing will always outperform occasional attempts at seven. I want you to think about which one calls to you, not the one you think you should do, not the most impressive one, not the one that makes you sound most committed, the one that felt like a relief when you heard it, the one where something in you said, yes, that's the one I need. That instinct, that is your inner compass speaking. And we have been practicing trusting the inner voice, haven't we? So trust it now. Pick your one habit. Do it tomorrow, the day after it, and the day after that. Not perfectly, not every day without fail, but consistently enough that it becomes part of how you tend your garden. That is how healing happens. Not in one dramatic moment, but in the thousand small choices that say, I am worth showing up for. Before I let you go, I want to leave you with this. Healing is not what happens when everything finally falls into place. Healing is what you already are doing right now by listening to this, by choosing to show up for yourself in these small ways, by being here for this episode, for this conversation for yourself. You don't need to overhaul your life. You don't need to do everything differently tomorrow. You just need to pick one thing, one small sustainable habit, and do it again tomorrow and after that and then after that. Not because it will fix everything, but because every time you choose yourself, even in the smallest way, you're sending a message to every part of you that has ever felt unworthy of care. I see you. I am here and I am not going anywhere. That is the beginning of everything. Together we heal, together we grow, together we rise. one small ask before you go. If today's episode gave you even one thing, one habit, one thought, one moment of feeling seen, would you just take out 30 seconds and leave me a star rating on Spotify? It is the biggest way you can help more people find this space. And at this stage of the show, every single rating means the world to me. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking time out to listen to me. If you like this episode, please, you are free to comment and give a star rating. I'll see you in the next one. Have a good time. Take care.